What is going on? I want to welcome you from Half Court for today, Monday, August 22nd. I am your host, Sean Murphy, alongside my man, Jeff. Hi, Freddy. Jeff, how we doing today, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Football season starting, basketball season starting. I'm
Woo!
excited. It's hard not to be excited.
Dude, we got a schedule finally, so therefore we can actually look at what games we're playing and we can look forward to matchups and road trips
Mhm.
and what to expect throughout the season, the difficult challenges they're going to have to face. I mean, it's a lot of things in there that you kind of expect, things that you know to expect. I mean, generally they go on that Western Conference road trip around the same time each year, so that's not really a surprise. But however, with that, Jeff, there's also a lot of conversations and comparisons and looking at how a lot of these younger teams are going to do this NBA season. And one guy that we had a topic actually on a video last week, Jack Kelly, he actually came out with another really good graphic that sparked another conversation that you and I wanted to have, which was comparing, the four, young cores, the best young cores, the Pistons, the Magic, the Thunder, and the Rockets, because these are kind of the four main young cores, lottery teams that have been around the past couple of seasons. Again, you can follow Jack on Twitter at Jack_Kelly_313 for more really good Pistons content analysis, graphics, and discussions on social media. I think the guy's really solid. So definitely
Yeah.
give him a follow. Shout out to him for giving some content and some ideas during this time, because this kind of sparked a conversation that I wanted to have, Jeff, where this just shows four young core teams, but I think there's a lot more in the NBA. So I want to focus on not only the best young cores in the NBA, ranking them together, but in addition, where the Pistons compare and how they're going to get to where we expect them to be, where we think they are right now, how they may be compared to other teams that might be better than them. And we're going to get into that right now. So, specifically, I think, Jeff, I think the easiest way to start this video or to start this topic would be starting with the best young cores and working our way down. I think I'm going to go out on a limb. I think the Memphis Grizzlies, I'm pretty comfortable with their young core.
Yeah.
I think John Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bain, just to name a few, they have a system of developing players. And Jeff, they're terrifying.
Yeah, no, they are. And they deserve to be number one. If you're talking about proof, like what have you done for me lately? Well, the Memphis Grizzlies last year, they every year they've taken the next step. And even this season and beyond, they're going to be more and more dangerous. So they got to be the best, Sean. I mean, John Morant's special, and they got a lot of guys. They go deep in Memphis. So
Yeah,
I would agree with you.
even without John Morant, there was a lot.
Yeah, they're still winning.
Yeah, they gave the Warriors a lot of issues in the playoffs, and even they
Yeah.
had a record last year that was just as good when John Morant was off the court as he was on. Now, obviously, I don't think that means that John Morant doesn't have impact on winning. I think it means that they have a lot of depth. They have the ability to adjust their roster. They have a good coach and a system that doesn't necessarily rely on one player, and that's a good thing to have in a young core. So
Hmm.
I would say that's a good sign for them. Jeff, I would say another team that we could put up here. I would say the second best young core in the NBA right now, if I had to pick, I think I'd go to New Orleans Pelicans. I think you got guys like Zion Williamson, Herb Jones. You got guys like Jose Alvarado. You got Brandon Ingram. I think the pieces that they have right now, and then also the veterans that they have, I think that they're going to have a really good season. I think this is a team that we could possibly see deeper in the playoffs potentially.
Yeah, the only argument the only other team I would probably think about is probably Cleveland. But
Interesting.
besides
Okay.
that,
Yep.
but New Orleans, to your point, stacked talent. You have Zion, you have Brandon Ingram, and they have other young guys they're continuing to add. So New Orleans is up there in terms of talent for talent. I mean, if you want to put them two, I ain't going to argue with you. So New
Yeah.
Orleans, to me, they deserve to be up there as
I,
well.
I
Same with the
think
Cavs.
I think Cleveland has more talented young pieces. I think they have Evan Mobley, they have Jarrett Allen, they have Darius Garland, they have Laurie Markkinen, which say what you will about him, but he's been a pivotal piece of their team. They have a guy like Karis LeVert who could potentially still be a prominent piece for them. You never know; they could still bring back Colin Sexton, or they could possibly have a sign and trade there for him. But the way I would say, or the reason why I would put New Orleans above Cleveland is because I think the ceiling of Zion is far higher than the ceiling of Evan Mobley or Jarrett Allen. I know a lot of people think Evan Mobley can be like, like a Giannis Greek freak type like star, but in my opinion, I don't think he has that type of alpha mentality on the offensive end, and I think he's more of like a Chris Bosh type player where he can complement and fill a lot of pieces and do what you need to win games and not necessarily be about himself. That's kind of the role I see for him going forward. And I would argue Zion, if he's healthy, I mean, he's the most physically dominant player we've seen since Shaquille O'Neal. Statistically, the things that he did in the paint when he was healthy and on the court,
Mhm.
last year, before like this last season, he was terrifying. So if he comes in shape and this team plays well, I'm there's a chance this could be a second round team.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
No,
so
that's what separates him, Sean. I mean, Zion, when healthy, you mentioned it, 27 points on
yeah,
60% shooting. So, I mean, we can project Evan Mobley to be, whoever, but we know what Zion is when healthy.
yeah,
So there's more proof in the pudding with the New Orleans Pelicans. So that
right.
would probably give him the edge. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yep. So that's why I would go there. So I appreciate you hearing me out on that. Now let's kind of go into the next tier, and I'm going to start with the Detroit Pistons right here. I
Mhm.
think of all of those young teams that we looked at, those four young core rosters, I think the Pistons have the most talent available to them right now. I know the Oklahoma City Thunder have a crap ton of picks coming up. They have a lot of players that they drafted that are total project, hit or miss, wing players. They're clearly going for gambles and calculated gambles. But I think the Pistons, I think they got a lot of surefire things that can come in and play really good basketball and also have an insanely high ceiling. I also think with Troy Weaver and Dwayne Casey, everything they have in their system. I know I might be a little biased, but Jeff, I think they're just that tier below these young cores. And I think they can get up to this tier, but I think right now it's going to take winning some games and some players taking some leaps in order for that to happen. But I think they're just below that tier right now. Do you agree with me?
Yes, I do, and I think what the Pistons have that other cores are figuring out is you have a franchise, but future superstar in Cade Cunningham. Now you can make an argument, that Evan Mobley, Scotty Barnes, these guys are going to be great players, but if you watch Cade, I think that's what kind of separates for me from the other young cores. I think Cade is legitimately going to be, one of the best players for years to come when he fully hits his prime. So I think that's what separates it, but also the depth, like Sadiq. You have a lot of pieces that are young that can still be something. But yeah, Sadiq has shown proof that he's an up and coming player in this league. Jay Ivey, if you want to base guys, like if we're gonna put guys that haven't played in the NBA yet, I think Jay Ivey deserves to be at least recognized. He's going to be a good player. So yeah, I would agree. I think the Pistons in totality they have one of the best young cores. Not as good as those three we listed, but still one of the best.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think they can get, and like I said, I think they can get up there real soon. I think it's going to
Yes, yes.
take, I think right now we still need to see what Jaden Ivey's going to be. I think we all are pretty comfortable with what he can be, but I think,
Mhm.
obviously coming into his rookie season, I think we have to temper our expectations with what he's going to be like at the beginning of the season. I think we have to allow him some room to grow because I think he even saw in summer league once you gave him the time to grow, like kind of calm himself down. I think he can come out really jittery at the beginning, like he did in summer league. But once he calms down and realizes this is just basketball, play your game, you're here for a reason, and just be yourself, I think he's going to be fine.
Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. But it's gonna, again, what it's gonna take to get up there. Sadiq's gonna have to take that jump. I think we all think he can. Isaiah Stewart, he's gonna have to take that jump. We all think he can. Which, by the way, go listen to the Bunning Cardigans 100th episode. They had Isaiah Stewart on there. Fantastic listen. Shout out James Edwards III, Nick Henkel. Love you guys. In addition, I think another team we have to put in the S tier because I forgot to talk about them. And there's really only one reason we're putting them up there. They have Luka Doncic. Dallas is up there. That's literally it. Like
Yeah,
like they don't even
yeah,
have a young core, but they
yeah. I was
have
gonna say,
Luka.
yeah, right.
Like that's literally it. Like they would be like last on there for me just because it's like, well, they have Luka. So like they got to the Western Conference Finals and overachieved because they have Luka Doncic, who's a top 5 player in the world right now. So like they have Christian Wood, who's interesting. Like if he and Luka like have a good pick and roll game, I can see that being intriguing. But on the other hand, I don't know if they'll be that good this season. But at the same time, I mean, you saw them overachieve last year with the roster they had as well. So like it feels wrong putting them up there because like overalls are like I don't really like their roster. as a
Yeah,
whole. But it's like when you
yeah,
have Luka Doncic, it's like, does it really matter? It's like when LeBron brought the '07 Cavs to the finals, you know? It's like sometimes you just have players that are so transcendent that like it's like, well, they're still gonna like not be a play-in team. Like they're gonna be like a fifth or fourth seed at least.
yeah, yeah. No, Luca by himself, I guess, makes
Like
the
as
roster that
ridiculous
much
as
better.
that is, like, am I
Yeah,
wrong? Like,
and I guess if they still had Jalen Brunson, you'd probably have even more of an argument. But he's gone. And Luca's the entire team. So if you want to put him up there, yeah, I can go with that. He's still
yeah,
young in the
yeah.
NBA. So
Well, yeah, for sure. He's still young. Yeah, and I mean, he's only 23, Jeff. It's
right,
insane.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
nuts.
unreal. So, like, if we're talking about young, I mean, like, he's right there with all these guys. He was only drafted a few years ago. My gosh, it's insane.
Hmm.
Another team that's got to be on here. I mean, the Toronto Raptors. I'd put them just behind the Pistons right now. I think with their young core, it's interesting because they don't really have like they have like kind of half of a veteran team and half of a young development
Yeah,
roster.
yeah,
And they're kind of doing a hybrid, like a hybrid rebuild slash compete now type model where they got Scotty Barnes. That's a piece they can
yep.
build around, but also he can be used to win basketball games. In addition,
Garrett Trent
yeah,
Jr.
Gary Trent
He's
Jr.
23.
Yep, another solid
He's
young
nice.
piece. But then like,
OG
you know,
Anobi.
yeah, exactly. OG, I know. But like it's weird though, because like it sounds like he doesn't really like being there, but like it sounds like they don't really want him there either. Like they've tried to like trade him multiple times, but like
Yeah,
they're just kind of like stuck with each other for now. It's like a really weird relationship, but it's like he plays really good basketball for them too. So like why would you ruin that relationship?
right.
But I mean, listen, I mean, at the end of the day, Scotty Barnes, whether he should have won rookie of the year or not, that's a whole other conversation. Personally, I've gone back and watched some Scotty Barnes, and I definitely don't think he's as nearly as polished of a player as Cade is right now. However, for him to be as productive as he was and not being nearly as polished speaks
On a
to,
veteran team.
yeah,
Yeah.
on a veteran team, speaks to the potential that kid has. He is really talented. But again, I mean, Cade's better. He just is. And in addition, I think the Pistons just have more young pieces, whereas this team just kind of has to figure out. I think they have to make a decision soon. Are you doing a rebuild, or are you doing, because in my opinion, you could go and flip guys like Pascal Siakam, guys like Fred VanVleet, and potentially bolster your roster around Scotty Barnes for the future in the long run. But
Yep.
that's just me.
Yeah. No, you hit on it. Toronto Raptors are kind of teetering, but if you want to look at the young guys they have, they're definitely, I mean, they're up there. Right
Yeah.
behind the Pistons, of course. That Pistons have just have more young, just up and coming players, but
Yeah.
they're in the conversation.
Yeah. I feel like the Atlanta Hawks is a team we should touch on in this as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And,
I
and that's
feel
the thing. Like Boston, I mean, they have a young guys, but are they a young core? Like
yeah.
some of these
Yeah. In my
Atlanta,
opinion, I
yeah,
think Boston, like I think they're veterans now. I think they're experienced. I
yeah.
think those guys are in their mid-20s. I think those guys are like beyond the young core stage. Once you get to a finals, you're not really a young core anymore. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I agree. But like, it's
Um,
just crazy to look at their ages. Like
yeah.
Jason Tatum's 24, Grant Williams is 23. Jalen Brown's 25. Like it's
Yeah.
it's crazy how young these guys are.
Yeah, it's insane. But again, it's like how seasoned they are for everything they've done already. It's unreal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
crazy.
unreal. But another team I'd put on this list as well. I think the Indiana Pacers in a short amount of time have done a lot of good things. We'll get to Atlanta in a second, but Tyrese Halliburton, Rick Carlisle is a great coach to have for that position. I know they got that center or that big from Phoenix was Jalen Smith.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. What do you think of them with and then just getting Benedict Mathurin, just like a solid basketball player?
So is this this isn't an order, right? Like the Pacers aren't better than the Magic, the OKC Thunder. Are you just saying they're in this tier?
No, they're in this tier. They're in this
Okay.
tier.
All
Like
right. So yeah,
we're gonna add
yeah,
those teams in a second. But like briefly, like they're definitely like on the A tier list in my opinion. Or
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
at the end of it, they're like teetering on like high B.
Yeah, they probably need more. Like they really have Tyrese, Miles Turner. They have Chris Duarte, and now they added Benedict. I like the pieces they have. If I had to rank them, they're probably B, borderline A. If I had
Yeah.
to, if I
Yeah,
had to
yeah,
put it.
you're right. Because when you talk about the other teams that need to be in this conversation, I mean, they're just not going to make that list because, like you said, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Let me find them on here real quick. There they are. They definitely have to be in here.
Yeah.
I would put them above Toronto right now,
Yep.
in my
Yeah, I would
opinion.
agree. I would
And
agree.
below, and I would put them just below the Pistons. However, with the amount of draft capital they have, that could very much be subject to change.
A couple years, they might have an entire team of you can consider a young core.
But
So
but the thing is, like they have guys like SGA, they have guys like Josh Giddey, they have guys like Chet Holmgren, guys I all love and I think are all like surefire talented players. But like I said, they have also all these other guys that are just total project hit or miss players.
yep.
That
Yeah.
like it's just that typical Sam Presti, like I'm just gonna freaking swing for the fences. I'm gonna go for these like atypical prospects that don't make any sense.
Uzman Dieng and
Yeah, like the Serge Ibaka types, you know what I mean? Like these
yeah.
guys that you find late in the draft. So, either it works out and it's like a Serge Ibaka or it's like a Sekou Doumbouya. But we'll see what happens there. I love what Oklahoma City's doing. I really do. But at the same time, Sam Presti, you got to start winning some basketball games. You can't get away with that for too long.
It's true.
I think Atlanta, I'd put them above Dallas right now, even though like they have Luca, but like Trae Young, DeJounte Murray. I think just that like young backcourt, Clint Capella,
Oh yeah.
John Collins. I think this is like a really good young roster that can be competitive right now. But I also don't think I'd put them above Cleveland because I think I like what Cleveland has better.
Mm-hmm.
Am I
And
insane for
listen,
that?
Trey. You're not insane. I think Trae Young by himself. Trae Young by himself to me like makes them that much, and then they added
Yeah,
Dejounte
yeah, you're
Murray,
right.
who's
Yeah,
all
you're
defensive
right.
guard. So yeah, either way, I mean, if you want to tell me the Cavs have a better young core, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. But in terms of going farther in the postseason quicker, the Atlanta
Yeah.
Hawks are built
Yeah,
for that.
Atlanta definitely has the higher floor. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure,
Atlanta definitely has the higher floor. I think Cleveland could be a freaking monster team though in a couple of years. I think
hmm
I think like if Evan Mobley keeps developing and going on this defensive track, I think by like year 3 he could be this dominant defensive big. I think Jared Allen's already a dominant defensive big. If those guys stay healthy, this could be like San Antonio East with
Yeah.
like Darius Garland playing this like more modernized, like Tony Parker type of scoring role. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of terrifying to think about.
And we'll see what they do with Colin Sexton. So
Mhm.
he might be back as well.
Yeah. Pistons might have something to say about that though, but that's okay.
Oh Lord.
Oh lordy. Houston Rockets. I think I'd put them right here. I think I'd put
Yeah.
them low A. I think Jalen Green alone, I think has to put them above here. Jabari Smith Jr. I know there's a lot of concerns or question marks after summer league, but I think we saw everything about Jabari Smith Jr. that we said pre-draft, Jeff. I mean, what were your thoughts of him, and what do you think of this young core in particular? What are your thoughts of the players they have?
I like it. I think there's a lot of talent. Jalen Green, you mentioned it. Jabari Smith, Sengun. We know how the people love Sengun. He's
Oh yeah,
apparently a up and coming big in the league. But
I've been
no, I think
told by a lot
I,
of people I need to go back and rewatch Sangoon. So I'm telling you, people, one of my assignments for myself this week, I'm putting this on me right now. I'm gonna watch some out from Sangoon.
yeah.
Come back and give a scouting report in a random video this week. Go ahead, Jeff.
Another thing we talked about with Jabari quickly is I love Jabari. That was the guy I wanted originally. If you had the top 3 pick, Paulo or Jabari, was always between those two. You were a check guy, but still, they're all talented players, so it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. With Jabari, though, I'm curious to see his fit in Houston. That's the only thing. I think he'll still be a good player. So if you want to just judge it based off talent, not necessarily fit, talent, they got talent. I think Kevin Porter Jr. is a good player. So
Yeah.
I don't think they're better than the other cores, like you said, but they're better than the Pacers.
Yeah.
I mean, they are.
I think we've seen Jalen Green like improve as like a pick and roll
Oh yeah.
creator as well throughout the seasons. Like we've seen that he has flashes and abilities to be a creator. It's just whether or not he wants to be, because
And
he also knows he
defensively.
can go create his own damn shot. And like, listen, you can't really blame him for that.
No,
You know?
no, you can't. Defensively, I mean, for him to be in the same tier as Trae Young in terms of being, his advanced analytics as a defender, that's a problem. But I think he can get better. So
Yeah.
I like their young core.
Yeah,
They're up there.
for sure. I think the one last team, like the couple last teams I'm looking at on this list of like young cores or like rebuilding teams, like San Antonio right now, I would say is at a D. Like they're
Yeah.
at the
What is their young core? Is it
well, yeah,
Keldon Johnson?
they're at ground zero. They're at very
Yeah.
beginning. Like this is like they are tanking this season unapologetically. This is a Greg Popovich coaching teaching year. That's all this is. So they're down there. The Washington Wizards are down there. I would say the Charlotte Hornets get their own C tier because they have LaMelo. Or maybe would you put them in B
Yeah,
because
B.
they yeah,
Yeah,
I think
B.
B is
I would
fair.
agree.
Yeah, I think
They're
B is
probably
fair.
better than the Pacers, but they're like still in B.
Yeah. I mean, like Terry Rozier, how
Yeah,
do I
he's
say
probably
this
not.
nice? How do I say this nicely? I think
It's not too
I
nice.
think Terry Rozier is the point guard equivalent of Andre Drummond, where he can
Interesting.
go out and fill up the stat sheet and do a lot of things on a basketball court, but at the end of the day, might not really affect the win column. Am I
And
wrong?
listen, as of right lately in Charlotte, you're not wrong. So
Mhm.
it's really the LaMelo show.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's how it's been going.
Also, we've seen Charlotte hasn't been the best in like assessing character. I mean, that like Miles Bridges is just the latest of issues they've had there.
Right.
Just with young draft picks. James Bouknight is a player that you and I both like, but like he didn't really do anything year one. Like, why not give him minutes? So now he's gonna have opportunities this year, but at the same time, I mean,
He's got to
it's
play
just
catch up.
yep. Mhm. One
He
last
didn't get
team I'd
playing
put
time.
on here. I mean, the Jazz, they're kind of starting over themselves. I mean, but
Yeah.
they have Donovan Mitchell, so I'm going to put them in C. But at the same time, they're probably going to trade him as well. So they're probably going to be down to D soon. But Jeff, overall, would you say like the only other team you could debate, in my
The
opinion?
Magic?
Oh yeah, duh, the Magic. My
Yeah,
apologies. How did I
there you go.
forget? Yeah,
You're
in
good.
my opinion, I think we got to put the Magic. I'd put them just below Toronto right now, but above Houston. I really like their roster. I think a lot of people are overrating their roster a little bit. I think they got to give Paulo the opportunity to have some turnovers and make some mistakes
Yeah.
and play his game. But at the same time, like we don't know when Jonathan Isaac's going to be back. We don't know how much you're going to see Markel Fultz this year. And even then, like, is he going to keep up that production he gave last at the end of last season? We don't really know.
Yeah.
Jalen Suggs, we don't really know what he's going to be either. I know they have the Wagner brothers who can both play decent basketball, but I don't think they
Mo
really have.
Bamba?
Yeah, they got Mo Bamba, but otherwise, Jeff, like, I there's people out there saying that the Magic roster is better than the Pistons right now, and I think that's cap. I think it's major
No.
cap.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of young, it's weird because if you want to argue young core, like if you want to take their young players and compare it to like Toronto's, I think they're better just because Toronto doesn't have like they have OG, Gary Trent, and
Right,
Scotty.
right.
But with the Magic, the only two players I'm completely sold, or three, would be Cole Anthony, Paulo, and Franz Wagner. That's the three. I'm like, okay, you got a young core. Jalen Suggs, you got to see what he turns into. Jonathan Isaac, he's solid. Mo Bamba's solid. They have a young roster. So I think that's why people get like in terms of young cores. Yeah, when you have like 9 guys that are all young and that of course you have a good young team, but you really only have 2 or 3 guys, probably 3 that you're like, all right, these dudes are going to be a part of our future. The rest you're kind of like up in the air about. So I like the roster, but to your point, they're better than the Pacers. I think they're better than the Rockets, but are they better than even the Thunder? Like that's where probably the conversation gets a little
Yeah,
gets a
yeah.
little tight, but
And I could be sold on putting the Magic above the Raptors, but I think Scotty Barnes is a little more of a proven commodity right now than Paulo,
yeah,
just
that's
solely
true.
because we've seen him play on the NBA level and he won Rookie of the Year. So I think just solely off of that, they deserve to be
Yeah.
above him on there. That's just my opinion, but
No, that's
I
fair.
mean,
That's fair.
yeah. The only other team I think you could debate on putting on here, like Minnesota, but at the same time, I think going and getting Rudy Gobert, like a veteran piece like that, is such a win now move that like I don't think they're thinking about being a young core. I think they put themselves past that in that sense. Does
Mhm.
that make sense?
Yeah, no, I mean, if you want to count Anthony Edwards and Carl Anthony Towns, but even Carl Anthony Towns is much. I mean, you could
Yeah, like
spend 8 years in the
he
league, and
yeah, he's not
yeah,
a young core guy anymore.
yeah,
He's
I'll
a
say,
veteran.
yeah, he's a veteran at this point. So it's really just Anthony Edwards if you want to really debate it, and
Yeah,
Jade McDaniels and those guys. So
yeah,
I wouldn't put him in there, but
I agree.
if we're gonna use the Luka Doncic thing, I guess you can put them in there because it's Anthony Edwards. So
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, but even then, I don't know. Like to me,
it's
that's
all right. No one's gonna.
yeah,
Everyone's. Hey, listen, we're gonna sleep good at night, regardless. So
yeah.
it's all
Listen, go yourself. This is my list, not the viewers. But with that, what do you think? Give us
yeah.
your list in the comment section down below. This is our rankings of the best young cores in the NBA. So we have the Grizzlies, the Pelicans, the Hawks, the Cavs, and the Mavericks. then the Pistons, the Thunder, the Raptors, the Magic, and the Rockets, then the Pacers and the Hornets, and then in Poopy Dooku land, we got the Jazz, the Spurs, and the Wizards.
That's the
I'm
bottom of the
really
bottom.
excited to watch Johnny Davis like really just suck this season. Go Wizards. But
The
with that,
Wizards are
yeah.
interesting.
To me, like when I'm looking at like we started a beef with Sacramento, right? Or like not like started a beef, but like we've been trolling Sacramento collectively as like a channel for like a while. Like, I'm not saying that like I want to move on from that because like I would love to keep making fun of the Kings. But like I'd love to find like a side project, Jeff. I think the Wizards would be a really fun side project.
Oh my God.
We apparently we want smoke with everybody.
Oh,
Wizards fans. All right,
Listen,
relax.
from
We're
half
not-
court, we want all the smoke, baby. Come on now. Oh
now,
my
if the
goodness.
Wizards are winning, we're going to be talking about them. But if they're not, it's going to be continuous, just like we do with the Pistons. You got to listen. If you're not good, you're going to get made fun of. That's
Yeah.
how it works.
Without a doubt. Well, hey, I hope you all enjoyed a longer edition of From Half Court for a Monday episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Be sure you follow my guy, Jeff Iafredi, on Twitter at Jeff Iafredi, and also myself on Twitter at Sean Half Court. But in addition, be sure you're following our social medias as well, because there's a lot of great content on there as well, just to show off what our social media manager is doing right now. We have a lot of really interesting graphics and conversations and clips that you can be looking at. So be sure that you're going to FH Court Pod, because I'm telling you what, man, some of this content that's been coming out lately, dude, like unreal, brother.
It's unreal, man.
Unreal.
He's been killing it.
Yeah, 100%. Insanely grateful. So insanely grateful. But with that, we want to thank you all so much for tuning in. We will catch you guys next time from Half Court. Be sure you subscribe.